Welcome everybody to this video series, Virtualization for Hackers, where we're going to take the concepts of virtualization and enable pen testers and hackers and all sorts of security folks who are interested in virtualization get quickly spun up to speed with just the basics enough to deploy. My name is Pasquale, this is from What the Sec, and we're going to go over a very brief introduction. I'm a full-time penetration tester in the financial banking space, OSCP holder. I've also created the video series Web Hacking for Beginners, Enough to be Dangerous, that's featured on this channel. And I typically like computers, which is part of the reason why I want to put this video series together. So, in a nutshell, what is this course? We're going to be covering the very basics of virtualization. In addition, that includes creating a virtual machine or a virtual machine appliance, configuring it based on your specific needs and requirements for the application. How do you use it? How do you create it? How do you deploy it? What do you do with it when you actually have it on your system? Networking. Going to be covering what VirtualBox does specifically in terms of networking and how you can configure your virtual machines to be interacted with across the network. Managing snapshots. Figuring out when you have a virtual machine in a good enough state that you want to take a snapshot to back it up just in case things go awry later down the line. You have a point of restoration. And automate. We're going to be briefly touching on a tool called Vagrant by HashiCorp, which will allow you to orchestrate virtual machines as code, so that way you don't have to click in the UI every single time. You can just simply use Vagrant to write a configuration file and spin it up and down and destroy it as many times as you need to. So why would you take this course? Why would you watch these videos? First of which is that virtualization is used everywhere and by a lot of different companies and different kinds of users. Think of things like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Provider, Azure, as well as VMware, VirtualBox that may be deployed on site or on-prem in an organization. It's a great way of having different kinds of machines with different needs being met. And just kind of to briefly capture this in a nutshell, implementations do differ whether it's cloud-based or on-prem, whether you're running on hardware or in the cloud. The mechanics, however, are still going to be the same. Virtualization is also a great way to create test environments, especially when you're on a tight budget. When you're a student, maybe a computer science major, or you're taking some extra classes on your own, maybe you're working another part-time job to make a transition into something computer-based, virtualization is a really good way to simulate different kinds of systems and operating systems, kernels and environments in general, without having to buy additional hardware. If you have a decent enough computer at home, you can run VirtualBox on it, get quickly spun up to speed, and not spend any additional money. And I touched on this briefly, but you can run different kinds of operating systems on the guest machines as the host, which is incredibly useful. So for example, you can run Windows in a virtual machine if you're running VirtualBox on a Mac. Same thing vice versa. If you have a Windows machine, you could potentially try running Mac OS on it, or if you have Linux and every once in a while you need to do something on Windows, you can run Windows machines as well. And quite frankly, when I started hacking, I needed a quick introduction for virtual machines and I just couldn't seem to find any. What networking fit my needs? How big do I need to make my machines? How do I find them once I deploy them to start testing against them? If you're working a lot with VulnHub and you're taking virtual machine images that people have created for penetration testing, if you don't really know what you're doing with VirtualBox, you can configure it and create the machine and then just be lost from there. And the goal of this course is to really aid in you being more proficient in order to have less friction. So who would this course be for? Penetration testers and other security operations folks, especially those who are deploying things in the cloud. It's really handy to run instances of machines locally before you deploy them into the cloud. When they go up in the cloud, they get very expensive. Running them locally is a cheap way of making sure everything's configured in a repeatable fashion. You can destroy them and then just repeat deploying them. Developers and software engineers, those who are building applications for specific kind of operating systems, this is incredibly useful for. Think of legacy systems. If you're running a Windows 10 machine but you're still developing things for XP, I hope not, you can essentially emulate those systems. Sysadmins, goes without saying, again, the more systems you're able to test locally before deploying, the better, easier, and more efficient, and also cheaper. And I would also recommend support engineers, those who do technical triaging for a living. that are supporting customers in some kind of environment. Being able to simulate your client's systems can help you reproduce issues and troubleshoot better, because you're actually running it as close as you can to how your customers are running it when an issue arises. And also, this is just for people who are using virtual machines currently and might just be looking for a very brief course and a refresher on the basics, and maybe get some questions answered that they were afraid to ask prior. So what do you need for this course in particular? You are going to need a computer, a laptop, or a desktop. It doesn't really matter as much as the requirements. I personally would recommend something that has at least 4 cores in it, 8 gigs of memory, and a 500 gigabyte hard drive. These are very arbitrary specs. Obviously, depending on what your workload is going to look like, your host system should match that too. So if you find yourself at some point needing to run 5 or 6 or 7 virtual machines concurrently, keep in mind that they do take part of the resources from your host machine too. So having an ample CPU to keep up and enough memory for them is very critical. And you're also going to need VirtualBox, but luckily for us, that's free. So very quickly, as we start wrapping up this introduction, what is virtualization? To pull a quote right from Wikipedia, it's the act of creating a virtual version of something, including virtual computer hardware, storage devices, and network resources. This is a way of just simulation, plain and simple. You can take something that's meant for Windows and run it on Mac in a virtual machine, and so on and so forth. The possibilities are essentially endless, but having this tool is going to give you the gateway you need to get started. So very quickly, this is a picture that I borrowed, and you'll see, we can picture this as our own machine essentially. Our machine would have infrastructure, for example. In this case, it would be a CPU, it would be memory, it would be a hard drive, it would be the physical case, whatever it has to get a computer running. On top of that, you have your operating system. That would be Linux or Mac or Windows. And then what happens is, if you run an application like Virtual Machine, you get the hypervisor interaction that you're looking for. And this is where you can start sparing system resources to virtual machines. And what they are full systems with their own kernels. So a couple quick notes on that. Resources of guest machines, again, are shared with host. CPU, RAM, storage, even network interfaces you can share with the host, USB drives, depending on what you're looking to do as well. Quick note to reiterate is that, again, you can run a different operating system and kernel on the guest than the host. This is different than something like containerization, where the kernel is shared between the host and the guest machines. In this case, you're able to stand up completely separate operating systems and kernels because they're not shared. And then just to quickly recap, some resources are shared. You can see how more powerful machines are going to be worth it. Again, if you're running a lot of virtual machines on a machine, you're going to have more demands hardware-wise than you would if you were just spinning up 1 or 2 boxes locally and you keep them running maybe for an hour or 2, something along those lines. And next up, we're going to get into the actual installation of VirtualBox. There's a couple of different ways that this can be done depending on what operating system you're running as a host. So that video will be coming up next, and see you then.